Moses, my servant is dead. Now, arise.
I was Joshua, son of Nun. I was a slave in Egypt. I was a servant to Moses. I saw the sea divide. I tasted the manna that fell from heaven. I trembled at Sinai when fire crowned the mountain. And now, the burden had fallen upon me to lead all Israel. Mighty kings, high walls, armies without number, greater than ours. I feared their eyes upon me. I feared their hope would break in my hands. I feared I would fail them. I feared I would fail him. I was no prophet, no king, only a soldier. And yet, the Lord of hosts called my name. This is my story, the covenant of our God, the battles we fought, the inheritance promised to our fathers. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to me, saying,
Moses, my servant is dead. Now, arise. Cross this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I give to them. Every place your foot shall tread I have given you, from the wilderness to Lebanon to the great river, the Euphrates, even to the great sea. No man shall stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so will I be with you. I will not fail you. I will not forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall lead this people to inherit the land I swore to their fathers. Only be strong and very courageous. Keep this law. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night. Observe to do wherever you go.
Then I commanded the officers of the people, saying, "Prepare your provisions, for within 3 days we shall cross this Jordan to possess the land which the Lord your God gives you to possess." To the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh I said, "Remember the word which Moses commanded you. Your wives, your children, and your cattle shall remain in the land, but you shall cross armed before your brothers to help them, until the Lord gives your brothers rest, as he has given you, and they also possess the land."
All that you command us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Only the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses.
At Shittim I called 2 men aside. I remember the look in their eyes, steady yet questioning. Jericho was not just a city, it was a fortress, proud and unbroken. Its walls rose like mountains, its gates closed to all strangers. And I was asking them to walk straight into its heart. I gave them only a few words: "Go, see the land, especially Jericho." But inside I wondered, would they return? Or would Jericho swallow them, as it had swallowed many before? They slipped into the city under nightfall, hidden among traders at the gate. Jericho's streets were narrow, shadows deep, and watchful eyes followed strangers. Yet the Lord guided their steps to the house of a woman, Rahab by name. Her dwelling clung to the wall itself, its window opening to the outside, and there, by the faint glow of a single lamp, they found shelter. But word reached the king of Jericho, "Behold, men of Israel have come tonight to search out the land." Soldiers were sent to Rahab's house. Their torches lit the doorway, their fists struck the wood, and she, with quickness of mind and courage in her heart, took the men to her roof. She hid them beneath stalks of flax, laid out in rows to dry. To the soldiers she said, "Yes, men came to me, but I did not know where they were from." At nightfall, when the gate was shut, they went out. "Pursue them quickly, you may yet overtake them." Later I heard what happened that night, how when the soldiers were gone, Rahab went up to the roof. The men were hidden beneath the flax, but she did not speak in whispers. With trembling lips, she said,
"I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror has fallen upon us. All the people of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you, and what you did to Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. As soon as we heard, our hearts melted. No spirits remained in any, and because of you."
The Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath.
A woman of Jericho, declaring with her own lips what many in Israel had forgotten, that our God rules above all. Then Rahab said to them,
Swear to me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness, that you also will show kindness to my father's house. Give me a sure sign that you will save alive my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and deliver us from death.
And the men answered her, Our life for yours, even to death. If you do not betray this mission, then when the Lord gives us the land, we will deal kindly and faithfully with you. Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was built into the city wall, and she lived in the wall itself. She said to them, Go into the hills, or the pursuers will find you. Hide there 3 days until they return, then go your way. The men said to her, This oath we swear will bind us, only if you keep this secret. When we come into the land, you shall tie this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down. Gather your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your household into your house. Whoever is with you will be spared. But if any go out into the streets, their blood shall be on their own head. And Rahab said, According to your words, so be it. So the men went into the hills and remained there 3 days, until the pursuers had searched all along the way and returned. Then the 2 men came down from the hills, crossed the Jordan, and returned to me. They told me all that had happened, and of the woman who hid them with courage. Their words strengthened my heart. Truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands, for all the inhabitants melt away because of us. Early that morning, and we came to the Jordan. The river thundered before us, overflowing in its flood. I looked at the people, and I saw their fear, the weight of 40 years pressing on their faces. My own heart shook with them. But the Lord had spoken. When you see the Ark of the Covenant carried before you, follow it. So I said to all Israel, Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. My voice trembled, not with doubt, but with awe, for I believed his word. Then I turned to the priests and commanded them, Take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass before the people. And as they lifted it upon their shoulders, I knew the Lord himself was going before us. Then the Lord said to me,
This day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you.
And I felt the weight of those words burn into my soul, for I knew this moment would not only prove me, it would reveal him. So I spoke to the people, Come near and hear the words of the Lord your God. By this you shall know that the living God is among you. The priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth shall set foot in the Jordan. and its waters shall be cut off, standing in a heap. So it was, when the priests who bore the Ark of the Covenant went before the people. They set their feet into the waters of the Jordan, swollen and overflowing in its flood. When all the people had crossed, the Lord spoke to me again.
Take 12 men, one from each tribe, and command them to carry 12 stones from the midst of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet stood firm.
So I called the men, and I told them, lift these stones upon your shoulders, and carry them to the place where we will rest this night. For they shall be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, what do these stones mean to you? You shall tell them how the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. These stones will stand forever as a memorial to Israel. And there, in the river's heart, I set up 12 stones where the priests had stood, and they remain to this day. When we crossed the Jordan, word spread through the land. The kings of the Amorites, the Canaanites by the sea, they trembled, for the waters had obeyed the Lord, and we walked through on dry ground. And their hearts melted, their courage was broken. Before we raised a sword, the Lord had already won the battle.
Make flint knives and circumcise the sons of Israel.
My hands trembled as I lifted the blade. It was not battle he required, but surrender. So I obeyed. The sons of Israel, uncircumcised, unmarked, were cut, and the camp groaned in pain. We lay still, defenseless, waiting, yet his hand kept us safe.
Today I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you.
And in that moment, the weight of our shame was lifted. Gilgal, the place of our disgrace, removed. There, we became his people once more. That night, we kept the Passover on the plains of Jericho. And the next day we ate from the land, bread, roasted grain, the fruit of promise. And the manna ceased. No longer did heaven feed us, for the Lord had given us the land. We tasted his promise with our own lips. Near Jericho I looked, and there he stood, a man with sword drawn, radiant and unshaken. I cried out, "Are you for us or for our enemies?"
Neither. but as commander of the Lord's army. I have now come. Remove your sandals, for this ground is holy.
There I knew the battle was not mine, but the Lord's. And across the plain, Jericho trembled. Its gates slammed shut, its walls sealed. None went out, none came in. The hearts of its warriors melted in fear, for the Lord of hosts had come. I looked upon those towering walls, yet I knew they were already broken.
See, I have given Jericho into your hand, with its king and mighty men of valor. You shall march around the city, all the men of war once each day, for 6 days. 7 priests, with 7 trumpets of ram's horns, shall go before the ark. But on the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow the trumpets. And when you hear the long blast of the ram's horn, then all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down flat, and my people shall go up, everyone, straight before him.
Israel, listen to me. The Lord has spoken. He has given Jericho into our hands, its king, its warriors, even these walls of stone that cannot stand against him. So hear my command. Take up the ark of the covenant of the Lord. 7 priests, take 7 trumpets of ram's horns and go before the ark. And you, my brothers, march with me. Circle the city as he has said. Armed men, go before the ark. For today we do not fight with sword and spear. We march in faith. And the Lord will break the walls. And so it began. The priests took up the 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the Lord, and they sounded them. Behind them, the Ark of the Covenant moved forward. Before them, the armed men advanced, and the rear guard followed after, all as the Lord commanded. We circled the city once. The people kept silent, their lips sealed, their hearts trembling. Only the sound of the trumpet echoed against the walls of Jericho. Then we returned to the camp, and we waited. On the 2nd day we rose early. The priests lifted the ark, the trumpets sounded, and we marched again around the city. And on the 3rd day, the same. On the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Day after day we circled the walls of Jericho, our steps steady, our lips sealed. The city watched us in silence, their hearts melting, their courage fading. For they knew it was not we who fought, but the Lord who marched with us. But on the 7th day, we rose at dawn. We took the ark, The priests lifted the trumpets, and we marched, not once, but 7 times around the city. The sound of the ram's horns cut the morning air. The walls of Jericho trembled, and the people waited in silence. Then the priests gave a long blast on the trumpets, and I cried out to Israel, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." We went up into the city, every man straight before him. The Lord delivered Jericho into our hands. But I commanded the people, "The city and all within it shall be devoted to the Lord. Touch nothing for yourselves, lest you bring destruction upon Israel." But Rahab the harlot, and her father's household and all that she had, we spared, for she had hidden the messengers we sent. And she dwelt among Israel from that day on. And I declared before Israel, "Cursed be the man before the Lord who rises up to rebuild this city Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn shall he lay its foundation, and at the cost of his youngest son shall he set up its gates." And the Lord was with me, and my name spread through all the land, not because of me, but because the Lord of hosts had shown his power. For Jericho fell, and Israel believed. Israel sinned. We broke covenant with the Lord. One man, Achan of Judah, took what was forbidden, and the anger of the Lord burned against us all. I did not see, I did not know. Yet while we raised our heads in triumph after Jericho, sin lay buried beneath our feet, hidden in the earth. From Jericho I sent men to Ai. I said to them, "Go, view the land." They returned with pride, saying, "Ai is small, only a few are needed." and we believed them. We thought victory was certain, but our defeat had already begun. I sent about 3,000 men, but they fled before the men of Ai. They struck us down at the gate, and the hearts of Israel melted like water. I could not understand. After Jericho's walls had fallen, how could such a small city bring us to shame?
Lord God, why have you brought us across the Jordan, only to deliver us into the hands of our enemies, to destroy us? To dwell on the other side. Oh Lord, what shall I say when Israel turns its back before its enemies? The Canaanites will hear, they will surround us, cut off our name from the earth. And what will you do for your great name? Get up. Why do you lie on your face? Israel has sinned. They have taken all the accursed thing. They have stolen, they have lied. They have hidden it among their goods. Therefore, Israel cannot stand before their enemies, but turns their backs and flees, because they are accursed. I will not be with you anymore, unless the accursed thing is destroyed from among you.
Rise, sanctify the people. For thus says the Lord, there is an accursed thing in your midst, O Israel. You cannot stand before your enemies until it is taken away. Tomorrow you shall present yourselves tribe by tribe, and the one taken with the accursed thing shall be burned with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of the Lord and brought folly upon Israel. So in the morning I rose early. The tribes passed before the Lord, and the tribe of Judah was taken. From Judah the clan of the Zarhites, from the clan, the house of Zabdi, and from the house, Achan, son of Carmi, was taken. And I said to him, My son, give glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession to him. Tell me what you have done, hide it not. And Achan answered, Truly I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel. I saw a beautiful Babylonian garment, 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold. I coveted them, I took them, I hid them in the earth inside my tent. So men ran to his tent, and there it was, hidden in the ground. They brought it before me and before the people. Then we took Achan, and the silver, and the gold, and the garment, and his sons, and his daughters, and all that he had, and we brought them to the valley of Achor. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire. We raised over him a great heap of stones that stands to this day. Then the Lord turned from his fierce anger, and the place was called the Valley of Achor, the Valley of Trouble, forever. I remember the silence of that morning, the weight of defeat still upon us, the ashes of sin still warm at our camp. But then, the Lord spoke to me.
Do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed. Take all the men of war with you, and rise. Go up to Ai.
And in that moment, I knew our shame would turn to victory, for the Lord had given the city, the king, the land, into our hand. So I rose, though my knees were still heavy with shame, and I gathered the men of war. Their eyes met mine, some with fear, some with fire, and I knew they looked to me for strength. By the Lord's command I chose 30,000 mighty men of valor, and in the darkness of night I sent them out to lie in wait behind Ai. The air was still, the ground cold beneath our feet. Every step whispered with the memory of our defeat. But I carried his words within me. Do not be afraid, do not be dismayed. So I spoke to them. You shall rise as an ambush against the city. Go not far from it, but remain hidden, ready. The Lord has given this battle into our hands. I gathered the people and we set our face toward Ai once more. The sting of yesterday still clung to us, yet the Lord's promise burned brighter than our fear. I went up with the elders of Israel, the ark behind us, and the men of war before me. And I looked, some to the north, hidden in shadow, others to the west, waiting in silence. The trap already set around Ai. The city slept, its walls proud, its torches dim. They did not know the Lord himself had surrounded them. And it happened. When the king of Ai saw us, he hastened to rise early, and all his people came out against Israel to battle, not knowing that destruction waited at their back. They chased us just as before, for they thought the Lord had left us again. But I knew this was the hour he had promised. Then the Lord said to me,
Stretch out the spear in your hand toward Ai, for into your hand I will give it.
So I lifted my arm, and with all the strength of my soul I stretched the spear toward the city. And at once the ambush rose from their hiding place. They rushed into Ai, and they set the city ablaze.
Set the fires! Move!
And when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw the smoke of their city rising to the sky, and their hearts melted within them. No strength remained in them to flee. We turned back, face to face with those who once chased us. And the ambush came out of the city to meet them, so they were caught in the midst of Israel, some on this side and some on that. I saw their faces, the pride drained from their eyes, their hands trembling, swords falling to the ground. There was no place left for them to escape. And their king we seized alive, and we brought him before me. The city burned, every stone, every house, every wall, gone in smoke and ash. And the king of Ai, they brought him before me, and we hung him on a tree until evening. At sunset we took his body down and cast it at the gate of the city, raising a great heap of stones over him, a witness to this day. Then, when the fire had fallen silent, I built an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, on Mount Ebal. An altar of uncut stones, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. No tool of iron touched them. We raised the stones rough and holy, and upon them I offered burnt offerings to the Lord and sacrificed peace offerings. There, in the presence of all Israel, I wrote upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses. The elders, the judges, the officers, all stood on either side of the ark. Half of the tribes before Mount Gerizim, half before Mount Ebal, as Moses had commanded, to bless the people of Israel.